Okay, first item on the agenda is the closed session portion of the meeting. May I have a mover and seconder to go into closed session under the authorities as printed in the agenda? Councillor Muir, Councillor Gladden, all in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, coming out of that. That's good. Welcome, everyone. Coming out of closed session, can I have a mover and seconder for a motion to not renew the employment agreement for the Director of Operations dated February 17th, 2021, beyond its expiration of March 1st, 2024. Councillor Muir, Councillor Gladden, all in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Yeah, just delayed. Okay, council discussed matters relating to an identifiable individual, employee negotiations, and we did not finish, so we will be going back into closed session at the end of the meeting. Okay, time being 7:02, I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the traditional territory acknowledgement, followed by a moment of silence. Council of the Township of Red Rock hereby acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of the Robinson Superior Treaty and that the land we gather on is home to the Red Rock Indian Band, Anishinaabe, and Métis people. Administration advises that there are no amendments to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the agenda as presented? Councillor Muir, Councillor Gladden, all in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Seeing none. Tonight we have Adam Rose from RJ Burnside joining us electronically to present the Active Transportation Improvement Plan. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Everybody has their mics off, so.
Okay, not a problem. Am I up then? Is that my cue?
Yep, you're up.
Okay. I'll just get organized here in terms of getting the presentation here shared to you. I'm gonna have to see if I can get that enabled, it looks like, for screen sharing.
Okay, we see the, what is it, slide deck? We see that.
Great. Good. Okay, well, I guess I'll jump right into it. So, yes, thank you, everyone, council and administration here for an opportunity to give you an insight into what we were hired to do for the community. My name's Adam Rose. I'm a vice president of engineering with RJ Burnside, and we were fortunate enough to put together an active transportation improvement plan for the Township of Red Rock. And basically today we're gonna take you through that report to a certain extent in a very slimmed down version. I think the original report was about 120 pages, and we're gonna do it in about 22 pages of a presentation here today. And really the intent is to just give you that complete overview of kind of what the process was and really what the outcomes were that came out of that report and some of our findings. The presentation is going to be about 15 minutes. There's a lot of information, so we'll probably hold off on questions and things like that to the end, if that makes sense to the group. And yeah, we're just going to jump into it. So really, we start with the vision, the intent, and the objectives of what we were trying to achieve. And really, what that is it highlights the township's commitment to an active, healthy, safe, and accessible community, and that's what we're trying to achieve with this report. It's a guide, it's a map, it's something that you can use as a tool going forward in terms of establishing the existing conditions of your active transportation and a future plan that you can work towards. It's meant to be high level, visionary, and it's something that's going to continue to update as the community evolves. So will the plan. And that's what it's meant to be used for. And it really positions the community well for the future funding opportunities as the community grows, as it expands, new subdivisions, new businesses. This all can fold into that and how it improves the community's active transportation and the connectivity throughout the community. Active transportation, what is it? Well, it's really any non-motorized transportation of people. And there's so many different facets of that, and it's continually growing. And why is it important? Obviously the fitness aspects of it, the healthy living kind of lifestyle that it brings. We want to make sure there's good accessibility for all different types of users of trails and sidewalks and things like that. It's actually an environmental impact. It's an improved around, reducing those carbon emissions for vehicle traffic and things like that. It looks to reduce any maintenance and potential wear and tear on your roads and network systems that you have in place. And there's different economic drivers and impacts that it actually provides by using more active transportation within a community. Just to take you through a little bit of the process in terms of what we looked at and how we got to where we are today. We started off by looking at and defining the existing conditions of the entire community and what active transportation is in place, what is the current conditions of those systems that are in place. And then we look to develop these new ideas and opportunities where we can improve, where we can add value, where we can connect more different areas, and looking at it from that aspects. Once we developed that initial plan as part and parcel to the public surveys, we looked at how do we connect that with the community. So we looked for feedback from the community through through a survey that went out to the public as well as an open house, and we took that feedback in, and then we started to develop an actual plan. We put a plan together in terms of a draft. We worked with different members of administration to finalize that draft, and now we're currently in the position of presenting to council what those findings were. And ultimately, the plan would be to take those recommendations and those opportunities and work towards an implementation plan of that over a number of years. And that's the general process that we've developed and kind of worked through to date. So what did we hear from the community? Well, there was a lot of different good, positive information, and I just took some of the data, some of the selective data that we did hear from. So the online survey, we had 32 respondents, and we had a strong support through that. 97% of those respondents indicated that they are definitely in favor of developing and enhancing the active transportation network currently in Red Rock. 81% of the respondents support a better connected and safer active transportation system. 65% use it on a daily basis, and 94% indicated they walk a few times a week, and 34% indicated that they cycle a few times a week. We have a lot more statistics as part of the report, but these are the ones that jumped out that were very positive and added, to the kind of idea that we're going in the right direction. We also had an open house, and really the open house was looking to gain additional feedback on some of the early ideas and opportunities that we developed based on the original online survey portion of the work. And this was an open house where people can drop in and really add to the comments directly in terms of what they were seeing, what they were thinking, and any ideas they had. And basically they could directly put on different boards and slides that we had available, ideas that they could see, or just comments in general. And so we took those comments in, and that was added to the report in terms of some of those final recommendations and opportunities that we developed. We also discussed one-on-one with the community development officer, the road superintendent, and the marina manager, and took specific feedback around, understanding the township's priorities and some of the existing challenges around the existing networks and the rehabilitation, safety issues, any maintenance concerns, and the overall connectivity within the township. And we also rolled that into some of the planning initiatives that we developed. In order to compartmentalize and kind of understand and kind of specify different recommendations, we basically broke it up into 3 separate key areas for the community. So the core community, the residential business district, the marina itself and all the trails around there, and then some of the more peripheral, longer routing areas along Highway 628, the Escape Road, and Red Rock 1 Road. And we looked at it from that perspective. So those are the 3 kind of main areas that we broke it up into and identified the opportunities to roll up into that. So for the main community, the core community areas, we had 4 opportunities we identified. Definitely going through and upgrading and improving the existing sidewalk networks in terms of rehabilitation. There's many areas that were past its service life or just not performing well, needs rehab, needs replacement, or maybe just isn't operating or functioning to the standard that we would expect. Adding some sidewalk along Taylor Avenue, adding a trail along Frost Street West, and also a connecting trail between Frost Street West and the current Frost Street Trail. So those were 4 opportunities we identified in the community, and I'll just jump into more of a visual. So here it illustrates that everything in red essentially is indicating the sidewalks that are more in poor or very poor or not functioning well, or really are trending towards a replacement in the near future. And we've identified those areas or lengths of sidewalks to be replaced. The blue areas are indicating areas that still probably need some improvement, but are not on the side that are immediate need. Maybe some minor maintenance areas, maybe a few panels of concrete sidewalk, or very minor things that can be considered as part and parcel to an upgrade and improvement, but not necessarily. Those would be more longer term, 5 years plus, where you'd start to revisit those areas and see if you needed for improvement. So for the most part, there were a substantial amount of lengths of existing trail systems that need upgrade and need improvement. It also shows the new sidewalks that were being proposed and the connecting sidewalks that are being proposed, trail system that's being proposed. Looking specifically at the Marina Boardwalk and Trail Network, so there's actually 8 different opportunities that we looked at. Upgrading the boardwalks so they have more accessible ramp systems in place. So those would be improving all the accessibility onto the boardwalk systems. Creating a separate multi-use trail that would run alongside the park road. Connecting the boardwalk to future road multi-use trail systems. Looking at adding lighting throughout the entire Marina Boardwalk area and trail system. Create a trailhead and wayfinding signage that would be a key part of the trail system in terms of users that were looking to, look at the bigger loop systems and take part of it in terms of physical activities and things like that. That it would have a network, a drawing that would show all the different locations and kind of where those specific nodes, wayfinding nodes would be. Address some drainage issues there and some central green space outside the main pavilion building. Create safety pedestrian crossings, and this is connectivity to Baker Road. And also we would kind of consider some of the network that we're looking at improving in terms of a multi-use, so you could use it for vehicle traffic during the camping season and things like that, or for emergency access purposes out of the marina area. Those are the 8 opportunities we identified there. Visually, you can see here that it's a lot more of a network that has a trail system along the main road. Kind of maintains the existing kind of network that can be a shared use between vehicles and pedestrians. And then more of a formal expansion towards Baker Road that would be a pedestrian or used for emergency access only for vehicle traffic, as well as a crossing at the existing inactive rail bed, as well as a crossing and inactive rail bed here at the existing access. And formalizing more of the trails out to each of the key points and to the boardwalks and areas as part of the marina kind of loop system that's in place. The next area was through Red Rock Road 1 and the Escape Road recommendations. So there's 4 along this route. This is kind of an informal route that's currently being used by users. So this would be to kind of formalize this. So there's the formal trailhead and parking area and wayfind signage that would be at the start. This also is a connectivity to the main mountain road or mountain trail system. Create different rest areas along the alignment. Explore the implementation of lighting. So this was looked at the existing kind of escape road that's in place that was built really for access out of the community, and we looked at the potential of converting that to maybe even a paved, fully paved roadway with shoulders that would be able to utilize both vehicle traffic and active transportation users in a way that would be, but this particular item was a very costly item, and so we really think it's more towards exploring this opportunity more than really getting into the implementation of construction for that item. And then formalizing, a side trail that creates a trailhead, and that was identified, and I'll jump to as part of kind of completing the loop. So you've got this escarpment kind of mountain road or mountain trail system that's really great. It comes up onto the escarpment there. But there's one kind of final loop that would be nice to kind of formalize down into the escape road. So we've identified that as an opportunity. We've got a few different kind of rest areas that along that trail. And then the formalizing of parking and trailhead right at the head of the trail there. Moving along to Baker Road, there's a number of recommendations here. We've had 5. They're somewhat, some of them are combined with the Marina Park area. So there's the rail bed that runs along on the lakeside. It's inactive now, maybe in the future it's not, but we'd like to identify a formal crossing in 2 locations, and as well as road crossings across Baker Street. We'd like to reduce the informal parking, roadside parking along Baker Street as an opportunity, and then formalize and expand the parking that's currently at the community center along Baker Road. So this would allow for the space for a full 3-meter wide multi-paved, multi-use paved path along Baker Road, while maintaining the roadside parking in some areas. Add a 3-meter wide sidewalk multi-use path along Brompton Road, which would connect the community center to White Boulevard. And we can take a look at it visually. So here you'd have you would create a formal trail along the roadway of Baker Road. You create as part of the Marina Park development and expansion, you'd actually create this crossing here so that you could use this trail network right to get up alongside here. And you would expand and formally expand this so that you would maximize parking for different events, rather using the baseball diamond or the arena and community center area, and expand that formally so you can handle the parking that wouldn't have to overflow onto the roadway necessarily. Looking at Highway 628, so this would be definitely an opportunity that needs to be explored more. So there's two real opportunities here in terms of adding a formal loop. We would like to see some more engagement with the MTO in terms of enhancing a fully paved shoulder system along that entire stretch. We understand that there's an existing kind of unused CN rail bed that's really on the other side, kind of splits between the escape road and the highway. But we think this would be a great opportunity for an unpaved trail system that you can have formal trailheads and as part of the loop system. But that would have to be through other consultation with another layer of consultation with CN and as well as with the MTO to get that done. But it's a definite opportunity, and it really enhances the entire full loop of what's currently there that would fit in nicely with the plan that we've developed. And then one of the last opportunities that we understand this is being looked at under separate cover would be the bridge, and making sure that there's good pedestrian crossings across the existing bridge access into the community. So this just looks at it from illustration. So we'd like to have a formal crossing here that you can get across the highway. Obviously the upgrade at the bridge system here, and then expanding and making sure that the trail network, that a trail system's in place would be a fully paved 2-meter wide shoulder along the highway, and then a crossing to Red Rock Road 1 that would get you up into the escape road and the formal trailhead there, as well as looking at the potential for the CN rail bed existing right now to be converted into a formal trail system that could be recognized as part of this plan and loop system. So this drawing really shows the full connectivity of the routes that could be developed, and through different wayfindings and signage would really promote the use of it and the active transportation network system that would be in place. We've developed a bigger, wider loop as part of, you can see in the yellow, with different trailheads that would connect to both the mountain escarpment trail system as well as the community. And then it shows the main community access areas that they could use in terms of, different user types that would like to do, more formal exercise and things like that, where they want to understand that route, the distance of that route and where they can use that and how they connect to different parts of the community, whether it be in business or residential areas, as well as formalizing, again, when you come to the marina, you would see what does that loop look like? What are the connectivity? So you would be advised of that at some kind of a trailhead there at the marina, and how it connects to the greater system of active transportation. So when we looked at this, we had to come up with some kind of a plan in terms of priorities, and how this could be staged, because there's a lot of ideas here, and obviously you can't do it all at once. So what makes sense in terms of how do you roll this out? How do you start preparing for it in terms of planning, funding, finalizing any kind of stakeholder engagement and things of that nature? And so what we did is, for each of the major area recommendations, we identified if this would be in the 1 to 3 year bucket, the 3 to 5 year bucket, or the 5+ year bucket. And so we looked at it from the perspective of which ones are probably most needed in terms of high priority, which ones require the least amount of more consultation, engagement with other regulators, be the MTO or CN, probably a least amount of time in terms of design and planning that would be required, and potentially the more critical areas in terms of some of the rehab that's needed on the existing system. So that's what we put into the year 1 to 3. And we identified each of those opportunities that we've gone through in the previous slides, and we just shaded them in terms of where they would fit. And each of these opportunities would sit into that year. But again, this is just this moment in time. This is a potential, a vision that could be done. This can be moved around and shifted depending on the township's priorities at the time and what funding would be available. So this is just a potential implementation plan. And we use this to develop a costing plan that would be looked at from the implementation. So each of these items, basically, I'm gonna really quickly walk through this, but then I'm gonna slow down on the summary. Each specific item we looked at, and again, these are based on conceptual design elements at this point, but these are considered probable opinion of costs. Okay, you're into that class D, could be, you know, anywhere from 10 to 25% kind of variables, but we've identified in terms of the core construction costs. We've also outlined a cost against it for more planning and design that would need it before you go to implementation. And then we've also included a contingency for some minor items that when you do get into the more refined design items, there will be costs that will come up that will be considered that we need to have an allowance for. So based on the phasing plan that we developed, we came up with costs for each of those major recommendations and opportunities. I want to highlight a couple of things. One of them is the Highway 628. So we've identified costs of probable costs. This would be rather a shared cost or a cost that the MTO would bear, because this is their asset, right? This is something that you would have to work with them in terms of requesting this, work with them in terms of if there's a shared cost and an opportunity to do this. So we haven't included in the totals in the bottom in terms of the cost that would be borne by the township. We've just included it in terms of understanding that order of magnitude and scale of those costs. We did the same for the escape road. If we were going to convert that to a fully paved road system with a trail network and lighting, that would be, again, come at a pretty high cost at this point. It needs a lot more investigation, planning, and assessment work to be done to see if that's feasible. It is an opportunity, but I wouldn't say that it's the most high priority right now in terms of all the recommendations. I'm just going to jump into the summary. So if you were going to complete all the recommendations in the phasing plan that we've developed for the marina, it would be $227,500. Baker Road improvements would be $325,000. Some of the Red Rock Road Escape Road improvements, which is mostly the trailhead parking expansion, as well as some rest areas along the route, and completing the majority of the critical items that need rehab done for all the sidewalks and trails within the community core. We've added an overhead cost to be included in this that was outside of the core construction, planning, and engineering costs and contingencies that would really deal with contractors coming and working out of town, having to mobilize and work within the community for probably an extended amount of time. So we added some costs, some overhead costs to kind of consider that. And so that project in years 1 to 3 for all the phasing plan that we've developed would be about $2.1 million. And each of the phases essentially has a similar kind of similar value, 1.6 and 1.1. And again, a lot of these, this does not include some of those bigger picture ideas for Highway 628 or completely converting the escape road to a fully paved road, as well as trail network that would be fully accessible and paved, which are considered bigger items, as well as the CN trail. If that was to come to fruition, just it wouldn't need a lot to upgrade it, maybe some minor grading and drainage items, and maybe considering the existing water crossing that's in place, maybe making sure that that's has some safety measures in place, but it wouldn't come at a big cost. It should be noted too, the CN trail conversion probably require rather purchase of property or some kind of land use agreement with CN. Again, this is kind of outside the scope of this. This is an opportunity that we've identified, but it would probably require extensive consultation with CN to kind of develop this idea further. So we've identified it as kind of an outside 5+ years. So now that we've developed this vision, this potential plan for the community, what do you do with it, right? Well, there's still some refinement. I think that, you know, after presenting here today to the administration and council, there may still be some input that can be used to kind of refine it. But really, this is something that as you start to develop your plans and your priorities, understanding that this is now available to you, you start developing those financial and budgeting allocation plans. Looking at what staging is a priority versus what is a nice to have. There still can be some community engagement, stakeholder collaboration that would be used to help develop some of those longer visionary ideas. There may be the 3 to 5 year or 5 year plus. If implementation on the 1 to 3 year plan and a lot of that staging was selected to go ahead, then you still need to do design and development planning before you go to construction. In the report, one of the things we identified is a number of opportunities for government funding and processes to go through for that. So that's something that the community, the township will definitely look to leverage and see what's available out there. And then you would go from there to construction at some point in terms of actually tendering the work and getting the work done. So that's in a very quick 15 minutes is generally the active transportation plan that we developed. The report itself has a lot more refinement in terms of you know, the insights and the thought process that went into kind of ultimately what came out of the plan. And but right now it's complete and you know, ready for the township to consider in terms of how to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam, for presenting the report. Are there any questions from council? Councilor Muir?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. I just want to I know a lot of people see these reports and they look at it and go, oh, we could get all this stuff. I got a note on the numbers that, you know, with our budget and it's one of those things where this requires funding. So I like when we put out these kind of reports, people get excited and look at the potential, and it's there. But we just have to be mindful that this is to help us get funding to achieve some of these. And obviously, a lot of this stuff is not attainable. Paving of the escape road, that would be something that I can't see that happening. But looking at you know, the ramps and the lighting, I mean, these are things that we can do. But again, that funding is very, very, very important.
Any other questions or comments? I don't have any. Thank you for the report. Again, the numbers are big. We do know that the township does need to do a lot of work with the sidewalks and some of that infrastructure. But again, it comes down to dollars and us advocating through reaching out to the government, trying to get funding that way. So again, thank you. And thank you for your presentation. Is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the active transportation improvement plan from RJ Burnside? Councilor Muir, Councilor Gladden, all in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
You too. The open session minutes of the last regular meeting, January 15th, are at items 5.1 of the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the open session minutes? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the open session minutes at items 5.1? Councilor Brand, Councilor Muir, all in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Councilor Smith is on a flight back to Thunder Bay, so he is not joining us tonight. First up, there are no resolutions from other municipalities at this meeting. 6.2, information purposes only regarding the new Community Safety and Policing Act taking effect April 1st, 2024. Do members of council have any questions or remarks? Councillor Muir. Next item, 6.3, is for discussion purposes only regarding a request for donation from the Red Rock Fish and Game Club, the annual ice fishing derby. Do any members of council have any remarks on this? Councillor Muir.
Well, I wouldn't mind sticking with what we did last year. I'm pretty sure, I know we did it in kind for the trout derby, June. Wondering what we did last time for the ice fishing derby.
Councillor Gladden.
Yeah, I'm willing to do what we did last year as well. Did they have an ice fishing one last year?
Yeah.
Did they?
And I'm getting the word that it was 250. So we can verify that and do what we did last year as a direction, but I believe it is 250.
Okay, also, we do donate, some other, I think, or maybe I'm getting it mixed up with the June derby, right? So all of those in kind, because that
Yes.
would change our
Yeah, because the ice fishing,
sponsorship, I guess.
right, the ice fishing with cash, and I think the June we did in kind
Okay.
with fees and stuff. I think that's what we did.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve a donation of $250 to the Red Rock Fishing Game Club for the annual ice fishing derby? Councillor Muir, Councillor Gladden, all in favor? Motion's carried. I know you remember. 6.4, information purposes only regarding the 2024 OMP funding allocation. Do any members of council have any remarks? It looks like it has not changed.
No, it hasn't. It's the same as it was last year.
Okay, next item, 6.5, information purposes only relating to the summary of the NOMA meeting at the Roma conference. Do any members of council have any remarks? Okay, seeing none. 6.6, information purposes only relating to Enbridge Gas concerns with the Ontario Energy Board's decision on phase 1 of the Enbridge Gas 2023 rebasin application. Do any members of council have any remarks on that? I don't. No, okay. 6.7, information purposes only from Confederation College relating to reforms of the International Student Program. Do any members of council have remarks on this item? Councillor Muir.
Yeah, I did a little research on this, and I did read a great article, a CBC article by Abby Dillon. It's called "Colleges and Universities Are Making Bank on the Foreign Students," and it's a good article. I suggest folks read it. I mean, Stats Canada has a lot of statistics as well too, but it appears that this letter, there's a little bit of government back and forth. So again, with the 2-year freeze, looking further into it, there's reasons. For me, I don't think I would personally want to support this with the local MPPs. I don't know. I think what they're doing right now is probably being done with the way the system is right now. Like I said, that article has some great information in it.
Thanks for that. No other comments? Okay, item 6.8, information purposes only relating to the minutes from the DSAB meeting on December 20th. Do any members of council have any remarks? Do you have that? Health unit. Okay, information purposes only relating to the minutes from the Thunder Bay District Municipal. Oh, that one, okay. On September 16th. Do any member of council have any remarks? It's the DSAB. Okay. Okay, 6.9, information purposes only relating to the minutes from the Thunder Bay District Municipal League meeting on October 18th. Do any members of council have any remarks? Councilor Muir.
Yeah, just with regard to what was kind of discussed at this meeting. They're talking about having the conference in AGM in Nipigon is taking place. So, I mean, it's something where, you know, all the North Shore communities plus get together. So I'm hoping we've got representation there. I'm planning on attending. I know CAO Figel meeting is probably going to be there. It'd be nice. The rest of council is able to make that happen as well. It's local and it's good, informative, and yeah, that's a strong group. That's a very strong group that's coming together there.
Thank you. I do believe they have over 50 delegates going, so should be a good showing. Okay, item 7.1, our minutes from the Thunder Bay from the Red Rock Public Library Board meeting, December 12th. Do any members of council have any remarks?
Did we go by DSAP?
Did I go? Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Okay, I think that's minutes from the DSAB meeting on December 14th. Any members of council have any questions? Okay, now public library. Everyone's seen the notes, any errors or omissions or any comments? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the minutes? Councillor Gladden. Oops, Councillor Muir. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, item 8.1 is a report on the OPP Detachment Board proposal. Do members of council have any remarks on this item? Maybe Mark would want to explain it a little bit.
Yeah, I certainly will. So it's part of the new Community Safety and Policing Act that comes into effect in the first part of April. So this is a process that's been ongoing since 2021 before I started. So what's coming out of this is there's a requirement for the detachment areas to recreate police service boards. So the Nipigon detachment, which consists of Scriber, Terrace Bay, Pace Platte, Nipigon, Dorian, Red Rock, and the Red Rock Indian Band, are required to form a police service board. So take it back to 2021, prior to my start, it was determined that and requested and applied for to have two separate boards within the one detachment, based on geography, based on the size of the servicing area. So go back to, I guess now July of 2023. You'll see the email that went to the Township of Nipigon. Again, so the Township of Nipigon took the lead on the submissions for all of our communities. So this note, this email came out July 19th. Township of Red Rock, for some reason or other, and others did not receive any of these communications. So now we hit deadlines, which were and are coming quite quickly. So I've now spoken with the ministry. I've established that connection with the ministry on behalf of the Township of Red Rock, and was able to kind of maneuver ourselves and myself through the process of what has to happen next. So what does have to happen next is the communities now of Nipigon, Dorian, Red Rock, and the Red Rock Indian Band have to get together, meet, and kind of finalize the system, not the structure. The structure's been there. So why it's coming to you right now is the fact that as a council, we have to appoint one member of our council to sit on the police service board. We also then have to appoint one member from one citizen from all four. So that's what we're going to get together now on to see, you know, how we can build this group. So as you can see, our board, which consists of those four communities, will have 4 council seats, 1 community representative seat, and 1 provincial appointee seat. So the province takes care of that seat. But again, it's mandated that we do this and follow through with it. And again, I'm working now closely with the other 4 communities as well as the ministry to try to bring it together. Their main request, or one of the main requests, was that each municipality had a board member named by the end of January. Obviously, we're past that. So what we have been able to do is reach out, get an extension deadline. Some of the communities, there's a training session in Toronto at the end of February for board members. It's not a mandatory training session, but it's a highly recommended training session for board members. So again, the Township of Red Rock will incur some costs and need to budget for this. But again, it's something we're mandated to do by the province. So that's all I'm looking for, kind of as a start, is to think about who may be interested in sitting on the police service board representing Red Rock.
Councillor Muir?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. Not gonna lie. I really don't have any good reasons why I'm interested. Growing up, Police Academy was one of my favorite movies. I don't know what else to tell you. Hey, but I'd put my name forward as a representative for sure.
Yeah. And that's where I can hopefully that's great. Thank you. And that's where I can hopefully be able to now build some timelines and time commitments to it. But again, this kind of just fell on our lap, actually at the Roma conference in the airport when a couple of other communities were kind of asking about it, and a few of us looked like we had no idea what was going on. Again, this dates back to April of 2021 when it started, and then again, we see the notification that came July 19th of 2023. So, and we're February of 2024. So we're a little behind, but we're catching up.
Is there any other interest from councillors? Okay, I'm not interested.
So then I can
You can move
forward on
forward,
behalf of council, I can include Councillor Muir's name as
Okay.
well, the good news is we need one and we've got some interest. So that was kind of tonight's process, was to see if there's interest, but I can also follow up with and then I'm sure
I'll text him after the meeting and see if he's had any interest in doing it. But definitely, like I said, I've been thinking about it as that conversation happened at the airport. I think I'd be a good fit, but I'll see what my
okay,
councillors
so
said.
we can follow up and Councillor Muir and I can follow up on that then. All right, well, that's that report.
Okay, item 8.2 is a report on administrative activities. Maybe Mark, you'd just like to go through your direction.
Yeah, for sure. I can do that. I wanted to, I guess if we started just as a highlight on some in the summary of activity when we're just kind of a summary on the impact meeting and the assessment changes with our water pollution control plan, just to give council some information as well. So what we found based out of this reassessment on our new wastewater facility. So MPAC now assess our new wastewater facility and takes our old facility off as we decommission it. So remembering that these are commercial structures within your municipality, they're still taxable because they're industrial, they're service related. They're municipal buildings, but they don't qualify as exempt buildings. So what's happening in this situation, and why I wanted to bring it to a highlight, is our old plant was assessed, for example, at 126,000. Our new plant is assessed at 1.3 million. So what we're seeing is a huge increase in the taxation based on school board taxes on that structure, as well as levy to our local service boards. So for example, the district social services we're taxed based on levy. So when you look at it from that structure, we're taxed based on assessed value. So when you look at our assessed value, we've increased by 1.2 or 1.3 million in that number. So why I just wanted to bring it to your attention is because this new plant, or the assessment on the new plant, in general's going to cost us probably anywhere in the range of $25,000 extra based on assessed value. So I just wanted to highlight that just as a significant change that we will see. So we're working towards that. I have an additional meeting with MPAC in the morning, and but we've already seen it through school board remittance. We've already seen it through district social services, and we're expected to see it very shortly from other outside organizations that charge us based on assessed value. So yeah, that's that highlight, or low light, I guess, as you want to say. But on direction discussion updates, just those reminders about the Thunder Bay District and the NOMA conference. Superior Greenstone District School Board project on Frost Street. I was going to ask if it was okay with council for Ashley Davis to just kind of give a summary of that project. And
Just to confirm, you're not asking for any direction.
No,
Just
this is just an
discussion.
update on the
So
last
we
meeting that we had.
so sorry, we did receive the direction.
Yep.
So this is just kind of an update as to what the project entails. Again, based on the recommendation of administration and the direction from last council, then there's no real further direction, and unless that changed.
We just want to make sure that he doesn't have to declare conflict.
Yeah, so this is just an update that Mark and I did have a meeting with the representatives from the Superior Greenstone District School Board regarding their project along Frost Street and building the bus bay in front of the high school. So we're working with their team to provide them with our existing infrastructure drawings so they know where our water and sewer services enter the high school property. And we received clarification on what that project would look like in terms of the municipality's responsibilities and the infrastructure that would be upgraded in terms of the street itself and curbs and gutters on the north side of Frost Street. So it was more of just kind of a better understanding of what their plans going forward were. And just that Frost Street is a small portion of a larger infrastructure project that the the school board will be doing and bringing more construction workers to town. So more people in town. And if there's any questions from council, I can respond to those.
Nope, thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. I guess into the auditor's process, there was a question from council. I wanted to address that from last meeting. So again, as directed, I have reached out to for separate quote. I spoke with the firm again Friday. They're still saying they're willing to give us a quote, but they're very busy and we may not see that quote until late March, early April. So again, I'll bring that back with further direction when I have that quote, but I've done all I can at my end to reach out. And we'll go from there. Bruno's contracting, Mr. Di Gregorio was out of the country when I did contact him after last meeting. He will be back next week, and we've set up a discussion for that time. I believe he's back on the 10th of February. So surplus properties, I just wanted to highlight basically based on some discussions as well, and to bring a couple of recommendations to council based on a couple of current properties that we do have on listed in discussions with the agent, as well as a little deeper dive into the vault building, and some serious looks at the condition of the building, as well as I was able to locate an old summary report on that building based on it done in 2018. We have been getting some questions on the building, but when we do go through it and some of the feedback we get at this time, I'd like to recommend that we pull that building from the listing. It is a building that is unsafe at this time. It's a building that we should look harder at putting a plan together for demolition. And I think it's just cleaner, even from a legal perspective, to pull the listing at this moment. And look at it further after we have more time to study it. I'd like to get our chief building official to actually go through the building as well. What you do get is requests of all sorts. People that may want to live in the building, for example, you get, once it's listed like that, you get many different requests. So it's not like we don't want to sell the property or quite possibly it as a vacant property, but we have to be very cautious with that listing. So I'd like to have it pulled from our current listing. And as we did a little bit of a deeper study, there's another another vacant lot that we've currently got listed as for sale. The address, it's on 628, and it's basically registered as parcel 12300, Highway 628 near number 710 is what it's called. So basically, if you're leaving Red Rock on the right, it's the piece of vacant land that's almost, so it's listed as an irregular or a small lot, and it's getting smaller and smaller because the embankment is really taking into what the lot was. So we just wanted to pull that one as well, just for a little bit more study on it. The reason being is we actually own the lot beside it as well. So it makes more sense to pull the one. And if we wanted to look at reselling that, we can put a process together to merge the two lots, which then would make them buildable, right? So technically right now, we don't feel that lot is buildable. It's saleable, but it's not buildable. And some of the requests we've had were for building. So I would recommend to council that we pull those two ads at least temporarily to see, and maybe on the vault, put a solid plan together to maybe demolish that building. So just looking for a direction from council to do that, and I'd reach out to our realtor and have them pulled.
I'm in favor for those to be pulled, Mark. Rest of council?
Yep, same.
Yep, go ahead. What would the cost be for demolishing that building? Do you know approximately?
So there was a study done on that building in 2018. From what I gather, and I can't seem to locate the information based on a quote to demolish it. But from what I'm told, there was a quote done, and it very well could have been a verbal quote. So I'd like to start fresh with that. But the number that I've kind of been thrown at me was it would almost, it would be like a $50,000 to $70,000 tear down. But again, that's just, I don't have anything, and I cannot locate anything that is associated with a quote.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that there was a study because they were tearing down the LCBO at the same time. So we had asked them to go into the vault to do an assessment. And there might have been some asbestos in there as well. But yeah, it was astronomical, and yeah, we were thinking of doing it ourselves.
Which I think we can look at all options, but I think selling it in the current condition, without at least a good general inspection from a CBO or is not in our best interest at this time.
I think direction is to follow up.
Okay. Rock Tech Lithium and the Critical Mineral Infrastructure Fund, and I think I'm going to ask Ashley to speak to that one again, because she's been meeting mostly with them, and again here we're looking for direction from council.
So we did have a meeting with Rock Tech and BMI and their team regarding their Critical Mineral Infrastructure Fund application. One of the components of their application is engineering drawings and studies on infrastructure leading into the community. So they're looking at phase one, which is the study phase, not the building phase. And they're looking at how to bring the products that they need for the lithium refinery plant or the clarifier plant that they're looking to build in Red Rock, how they're getting the product into the community. So one component was rail and one component was road. So that would involve bridge infrastructure. So I guess they're looking from the Township of Red Rock to explore the type of bridge we would be looking at across Trout Creek coming into town. So the direction we would be looking at would be to work with BMI and an engineering firm to provide Rock Tech and BMI with a concept plan for a new bridge over Trout Creek. So essentially, we're seeking direction from council to work with BMI and an engineering firm to provide a concept plan for this application. So ideally, we would be looking at a bridge that had either both rail and vehicle traffic in one single unit as an option, or bridge with vehicle traffic on one side and rail as a set. So two separate pieces of infrastructure versus one piece. So that would be one of the concepts. Those would be the two concepts that could be developed as part of this application process.
And so what the township offers, so what the township's obligation here is zero financial dollars. So there's zero financial investment from the township other than our time. And what we could get out of it, or what we will get out of it if there's a successful application to the federal government under this program, is a fully engineered design study for a new bridge. So we see it as a can't miss, right? Because worst case is if there's nothing that comes out of the project, the Township of Red Rock is still going to have a full engineered study, which we figure is around $90,000 to $100,000, based on the fact that we can get it with no financial investment out of this study by being a partner in an application that Rock Tech Minerals is going to put forth to the federal government. So the recommendation is from administration is that we put in the time to provide them the information and move forward. Again, there's no financial contribution required from the township. It's a phase one only study, so it just deals with the engineering. So in the end, we will hopefully have And what we're trying, what our thought is we have a few different concepts that we can work on based on worst case scenario with the Township of Red Rock, we end up with a fully paid engineering study for the new bridge that we need. And we see it as a win-win. We've met numerous times now with Rock Tech based on this, and they seem to have a robust staff that'll do a good job with the application.
So our next step is to meet with the engineers. So that's kind of what we're hoping to do in the next couple days, is to meet with BMI and the engineers to move forward with this plan. So we can at least have some numbers going into the application process.
Any chance we can get a dedicated walking path on that bridge?
Part of the plan, active transportation plan included it.
Councillor Brand?
So you said a bridge with potentially a rail. Is that rail going to be connected to which line?
So ultimately it would connect to CP because the CN line is defunct. So it all depends on what BMI's plans are for future rail development, what route they're planning to take. We don't know what that is at this time, but the Trout Creek Bridge concept would look at if they decided to route through another area or beside the existing bridge.
And again, the project is mostly led by the lithium by Rock Tech Lithium, but what they're doing is they're trying to bring other lithium company partners in because they're trying to establish a critical infrastructure network based in Northern Ontario, right? So what they're tying into the project is the fact that if there is production in Red Rock, whether that's based on the port or based on a refining facility, the bridge into Red Rock is critical infrastructure that they will need. So, I mean, we're hoping that we can partner with that and in some way be able to build a new bridge. And I think it's win-win based on our financial contribution.
Yeah, it's obviously we have to go forward with this, right? It's not costing us anything. It's not coming out of any taxpaying dollars. You know, we are using your time. But at the end of it, we'll get a study, which obviously we've been lobbying the government for at least the last couple of years, well, a few years anyways, for a replacement bridge. So we need that study regardless.
Yeah, definitely too. It would be nice to see the rail right where it is, right? Because the old rail line is right where a bunch of houses are. So it'd be nice to see that rail line back where it was, kind of.
Which is another huge reason that we're wanting to partner on this project.
100%. Yeah, we're out of the way, away from homes is 100% better. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
The Roma conference summary, just Councillor Muir, Mayor Robinson and myself attended the Roma conference. We were able to sit down with the Ministry of Health as well as the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs and Northern Development. I think the meetings went well. We were able to present with the Ministry of Health some of our concerns based around the EMS structure. They seem to listen, but again, it's a complicated process after that. And then we were able to have a really good discussion with Minister Rickford based around a lot of what's happening at the mill site and the potential for that. And I can say he was very he seemed very open and interested in what we had to say. So I think that that went very well. What we did, we're able to get following there is a virtual delegation with the Ministry of Infrastructure. All of council certainly welcome at that virtual delegation, where we were able to get a little bit more time with the Ministry of Infrastructure based on some of our current needs. One of the major needs being the bridge. So we're always in their ear about the bridge. I think we've found through history that the longer you stay in someone's ear, usually something comes out of it. I could speak by history on that, or by so we'll be able to go with the bridge. Another big piece that we I want to discuss with the Ministry of Infrastructure at that point is our current landfill site and ownership around our current landfill site. So that falls under the Ministry of Infrastructure. It's a bit of a complicated process based on the fact that we were always under the assumption that we owned our landfill. There was always information that was provided to me that we owned our current landfill. And we actually don't. It's owned by the ministry, and it always has been. I fell on that a while ago, and have been working through the process, and finally ended up with this kind of personal discussion we can have with the Ministry of Infrastructure based on how what a move forward plan is on that. So that'll be February 23rd, and again, all of council is invited, or just let me know if you want to be in, and we'll get you a link for that. The poker run and mud run request, that has again, looking for direction from council. That's come from Andrew St. Jean, who has a robust plan of putting 2 separate events into Red Rock, in partnership with the Fish and Game Club, as well as the Legion. He does take the liability insurance for the event. And I know he's been a great donator to both the Fish and Game Club with dollars, as well as the Legion after that. He wanted to highlight that they set a record last year based on attendance in Red Rock. They want to come back, and one of the last statements he made is our donations from these 2 events annually will stay local in Red Rock, and if there is a kids recreation fund or something like that, we will certainly donate to that as well. So just looking for council's direction for me to work with Andrew on those events.
I think it's a great event. This council fully supports it, that they come to Red Rock. We have a lot of enthusiastic riders in Red Rock and the surrounding area. And it's great that he always includes all the surrounding communities. So I think we fully support that.
100%.
Yeah, and then just the last one again, just more for discussion and more for thought, just on some of the condition of our township banners. And we do get a lot of discussion on the condition that they're in. So kind of where council thinks, and again, we're not looking for a decision or anything this evening, but once you get the banners right, they become 4 or 5 years old, and there's usually something you have to do with them. And that's kind of the state we're in now. So do we look at a plan to refresh them? Do we look at a plan to remove them? Or, and I guess those are the thoughts that we have. So just wanted to bring that to you guys for thought.
Samir?
Definitely, I mean, a price to replace it, but I was under the impression they're gonna last a lot longer than they were. We're kind of looking at it. It'd be nice if we could replace them, but again, it's cost prohibitive. Then I'd say maybe we can't, right?
Yeah, we can certainly look at all options. Like I said, we're going to go through a few more months of the winter season here, and maybe we can. The structures are there. I would imagine at this point you're replacing a banner or some type of banner. So, but the end result of it is if you leave them up and do nothing in the condition, then they really look worse, right? So it's like anything else, as you gain more infrastructure, or you gain more, something even as small as a banner, right? And you put it out, you put it there, and eventually it's going to cost you more money because you have to replace it, right? So as it's the same as a new water pollution control plant. You get it, but it certainly costs you a lot more money in the long run. So just for thought, and we can look at all options for sure.
I wouldn't mind actually seeing a different style of banner, maybe the one that's mesh, like the wind or whatever goes through it a bit better, but also maybe put them up in the spring and take them down in the fall. I think there is added value to the community. It does look nice, especially driving up White Boulevard. Everybody loves that when they drive in town, right? And it fills it. But that's my personal opinion on it. Councilor Muir.
Yeah, even too, I mean, if my family may be willing to make a donation, for one, because I know we had the businesses put on there, but maybe families want to make a donation and put it in there. And if there's, X amount of designs, maybe the Muir family says, yeah, we'll put up a marina flag for whatever the cost is. And then you can have it. Maybe something like that. I didn't ask my wife, so just Whitney, delete that.
Okay, well, I think we can work with looking and getting options for sure. And that's all I had, unless there was any questions.
Any questions or comments on Mark's report? Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Oh, Councilor Muir.
Sorry, I just wanted to give props to Mark and Mayor Robinson for at the conference. Rock stars when we're in the delegations. So it was very good work.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Thanks, Gord. Councilor Brand. Councilor Gladden. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, under unfinished business, I know we talked about Bruno's and what's that? Am I afraid it's up? Right. I have Bruno's and EMS.
It's just EMS.
Yeah, okay.
Because I had moved Bruno, so maybe I
Right,
didn't move
yep.
it there, but apologies, yeah. But it's just EMS. And there's no real, I'm leaving that there because it's ongoing, but I have not heard a word from EMS in this process.
Okay, so seeing that we did not finish in camera, we do have to go back into in camera. So can I have a mover and seconder for motion to go into closed session under the authorities as printed in the agenda? Councilor Brand, Councilor Muir, all in favor? Motion's carried at 8:19. So rising from closed session, council discussed matters relating to an identifiable individual, acquisition, disposition of land, and matters under solicitor client privilege in closed session. Okay, next item on the agenda is the bylaw to confirm proceeding of council. Can I have a mover and seconder for motion to pass the bylaw? Councilor Muir, Councilor Brand, all in favor? Motion's carried. Next council meeting will be February 20th, time being 8:54. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Have a good night.